Charlie, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Just happy to be on the pod again finally.
Yep. It's only because Blake's gone, so
Yeah.
Blake's in Vegas. We're doing a pod. Charlie and I here. We're gonna be talking about some cool stuff. So stay tuned. Let's jump right into it, though. It's tax season, Charlie. Let's talk about what we've learned about taxes from a freelance standpoint and from being 20 years and younger.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of go at it, be like, well, this is what I learned, and this is what I would have done differently, or I don't pay taxes, whatever.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I've learned is making sure it's really just all about like keeping track of everything, right? Like all the camera gear I purchased, all the invoices, like everything, just making sure you kind of have somewhere to store that so that you can go back and be like, here's what I spent, here's what I earned. I think that is something I wish I kind of would have told myself before starting
100%.
freelance. Like, just make sure you keep track of everything. This will be like my first year really, looking over and paying taxes and things like that. So I think I have a meeting with like a CPA, and I think he's going to kind of help me a lot.
This is the one I gave you?
Yeah.
Fire. He's so good, dude.
Really? Yeah. I have a meeting with him in February, like mid-February.
Nice.
So I think that'll be good. I've asked my dad a ton of questions because he's like, I've been paying taxes for...
Team finance?
He's not.
He's in tech, right?
Yeah, he's tech sales.
Gotcha.
So software sales, I should say.
Okay, so he deals with like commission and like having to pay taxes on that.
He has, he has rental properties and lots of different things he has to do taxes for. So like I ask him for a lot of stuff, but I think with like the W-2 job now, for taxes next year, it's going to be pretty easy.
Oh, super easy.
As well, just because,
Yeah,
it's
you'll get some money back.
Yeah.
Because you don't get money back when you're a freelancer.
Yeah.
So I only had like 3 calendar years that I like paid taxes as a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, keeping track of stuff, like I struggled with that even last year.
Yeah.
Doing some stuff, and I was like, shoot. At the end of the year, I'm just going through my credit cards. I'm like, all right, Best Buy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Going to my Best Buy account.
That's what I did too.
And it's just like, oh, so much work. But I think one tip that I could give myself was like buy all the gear at once. If I can, like at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. Keeping track of invoices. If you use a CRM, it's pretty easy because you can just download a report of the whole year.
Yeah.
And then, I always save 30% of my invoices.
Yeah.
So
if I get in your savings,
if I get $1,000, I'll save $300.
Yeah.
For taxes.
Yeah.
Because 30% is high for a freelancer, but it depends on how much you make as a freelancer.
Yeah.
But you probably are falling in the 18 to 25% range.
Yeah.
As a freelancer. So that's just my rule of thumb. Always save 30%, and it usually works out for me. Like I had a surplus this last year, so I had to go spend it on gear. And then also get a CPA. Find a CPA that's less than $500 for your return. They are out there. Mm-hmm. Especially if you don't have like a S corp with like 13 employees. Like if you're a single member LLC, there's people out there that can do your taxes from $250 like per return up to $500. Mm-hmm. Some are $750. It's gonna save you money in the end.
Yeah.
And you can probably just use that extra 30% in your tax savings to pay them. So that's my rule of thumb there. But yeah, always save for taxes because you never want to get to the end of the year and then you're like, okay, I owe this much money and I don't have any of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and especially like if you're going to be a freelancer like long term, it'll catch up to you. And then like one thing like you're like, oh, I won't track this or I won't save this, and then you're like, oh shit, I probably should have tracked that.
Yeah,
IRS is at my door.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's my biggest thing. This year I was actually very proactive with my taxes. Like I already have all my stuff organized and ready to go.
Wow.
I'm just waiting on my TD Ameritrade papers to get back.
Nice.
They mailed them to me, but they're not on my account electronically yet, which doesn't make sense to me. So
come on, people.
We're just waiting on that. But yeah, tax return. I'll be getting money back this year. I haven't gotten money back ever. Because I've been, as a freelancer. Yeah. W-2 is nice though. I mean, it's money that you should have had in the first place that you're getting back, which is like, just give me that in the first place.
Yeah.
But, don't spend that money though. Like, just invest it.
Yeah.
Back,
Invest it into an asset of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
Or yourself.
That's an asset.
That's what Alex Ramosi says.
Yes. He's actually playing on the TV behind us.
Yeah, we're currently watching him talk, but we can't actually hear him. So
yeah. So taxes, people, if you're a freelancer, please be diligent about saving, tracking. You'll thank yourself at the end of the year. You don't need to go as far as like getting an app that'll track everything for you, but just, get like Google spreadsheet and be like, I spent this much on this and this much on this. And you don't need to keep your receipts, but if you get audited, you will need those. So just keep your receipts just to have them. Yeah. And a lot of stuff's electronic these days, so you get like an email confirmation.
That's why that's why it's nice. Like I bought a lot of gear on Amazon, and they just do like digital invoices, and I just keep them all in a file on my computer. It's pretty nice, and I can kind of see expenses, and then I go to like my spreadsheet of how much I made, how much I spent, and that's my taxable income. So
yeah, the main reason you get audited is if you went from making like $25K a year to like 200 a year, like like a huge drastic change.
Yeah, I mean,
or if you made $50,000 a year and then took a $20,000 loss the next year, like to be like,
yeah,
what are we doing here? So
yeah,
I don't have any experience with that.
Yeah,
especially with like the numbers we're working with. IRS isn't really paying attention to us. So
yeah, I mean,
they're paying attention to Alex.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's what my dad always tells me. He's like, you don't need to stress about taxes really, because it's like there's they have people going after people who are making so much more money.
Exactly, and if you have a good CPA, they will do they will properly not follow the rules.
Yeah.
But still following the rules, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, taxes is a big lesson that we've learned from doing freelance videography work. Mm-hmm. Let's segue into just our top life lessons thus far. I mean, we only have a year or two of life experience under our belt.
Yeah.
But it's what we've learned so far. So you can take that. And go for it,
I'll start with this. I moved out of my parents' house a couple months after I turned 18. So right after I graduated high school.
You were fresh out.
I was, fresh out of there. I thought I was going to go to college. Decided not to. It was 2 days in, dropped out.
And you met me.
Yeah, and then I met Riley. I was freelancing for probably the first, 6 months starting the last year.
Right after you moved out, or you were still living
No,
with
it was
parents?
I was still living with my parents.
Okay.
So I started freelancing probably end of 2021.
Okay, so
then,
6 months before you graduated.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're saying.
And so I made the decision. Let me restart. I made the decision to move into the apartment, which is right across the street from us.
Yeah.
Not knowing that I wouldn't be going to college, right?
So it was downtown, close to college.
And I've said this before, but freelancing, your income fluctuates.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized that moving into that apartment wasn't the best decision and made some other mistakes as well. I got a dog that I wasn't probably prepared or ready for.
Hey, I warned him.
Yeah, so did my parents.
Too.
My parents warned me too. But I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was that you're gonna fail and make a lot of mistakes. Not to sound motivational or anything, but there's going to be failures and mistakes. And as long as you look at each of those failures as a learning lesson and take that into your next, decision, big life decision that you're going to make, as long as you improve that and kind of think twice about, what my decision is going to be, that's going to benefit you the most, I feel like. So, I look at each mistake as a learning lesson. What can I do better next time? So...
Yeah, making mistakes is inevitable even as a grown-ass adult.
Yeah.
Let alone being 18 and 20.
Yeah. I mean, you're in your early adulthood. It's it's bound to happen. Even what Gary Vee says is the guys that do the impression, the guys that do the impression, and he's like, I want you to fuck up on purpose. And it's just I can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. If I didn't fail at those things, I wouldn't know what to do next time. So now I know that, I shouldn't probably break a lease, right? I shouldn't do that because it'll end up costing you $4,000.
Yeah.
Or, trying to move between places too quickly or overlap each other.
So if you want my 2 cents on that, I mean, I'm only 2 years older than you, but I have moved a couple times here and there. I actually moved out 5 months after I graduated. I had just turned 19, so pretty fresh out of like high school.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would really like preach to everyone, and like it's not the way that everybody learns or that everyone prefers to learn, but like I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do it, and if that's the wrong decision, then that's the wrong decision. So moving in with roommates, that was not the right decision for me.
Yep.
Bree and I figured that out. We were able to break our lease. We didn't have to pay. We just forfeited our deposit. But it was just like that was something we had to learn. Then we moved to an apartment. We're like, well, we have a dog. Apartments aren't ideal for dogs. And we learned that lesson. And then now we're going to be moving to a place that's more dog friendly with a backyard and stuff. So it's like, it's taken like a year, 2 years, but like we've learned it. And I love learning things by doing the wrong thing first.
Agreed.
Personally, because then I'm like, for sure, I'm like, that's exactly what not to do. You can like always learn from other people, which is great. But personally, I'm like, I gotta really make sure that was the wrong decision though. Like, you told me that's not what to do, but I gotta really know that that's not what to do. So
dude.
That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just like, it's crazy because you don't expect these failures or mistakes, but
see, that's where I disagree, because I am like, all right, this is failure and mistake.
Well,
I'm on the failure and mistake highway right now.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Because we're at that age, you know.
Yeah.
If I was like everything, and it's never gonna be like everything's going well and perfect, but like yeah. So that kind of leads me into my like first point is like take risks.
Yeah.
So like when I moved out, I was like, I probably financially should not do this, but I was like, it's a push that I need. And then the month after I moved out, I had like my best performing month ever. And I was like, were those correlated? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like pushing yourself, getting uncomfortable, growing.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I wish I could go back and tell myself is like really make sure you have that financial safety net of at least like, honestly, like I wish I would have told myself like 10K. Like just saved up in the bank for yourself so that if something were to happen, you're like still good. And I think because I wanted to just get out and kind of like have my own individuality of living on my own, that kind of got in the way of,
which is also sick.
Yeah. Of me wanting to, you know, like got in the way of not thinking about what I needed to have.
Yeah.
Just in case something were to happen.
Yeah. It's, and in a sense, like if you do make the wrong decision, it's like getting in the mindset of like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, that's just how it's like,
you can't give up, right?
Like life is not that serious. Like you break it down. It's like, all right, shit, I failed. Like you could sulk about it all day, or you could just be like, all right, let's pivot and figure it out.
Like, think about it. Like when you're 85, are you going to be like, shit, why did I do that? No, you're not. You're not going to do that. Like that's something I've been trying to like learn, is to kind of not think about it too much, not get too upset about the little things, and really slow down and try and enjoy life better.
Yeah.
You know?
Something that is a good tool, and my number 2 point is treat money like a tool. So detach your emotions as soon as possible with money. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't even know how to like put this into words because I'm like so passionate about it, but like if you have 10K in your bank account today and 2K in it tomorrow, like your emotions need to be like, just stable, because
that is something I struggle with as well.
Yeah. So like when you're like, I wasn't financially blah, blah, blah. I was also in that same spot, but I was just like, I'm going to figure it out. Like I'm just so unfazed. Because
you know that it's going to get better over time.
Yeah. I don't know what I do to like put myself in that mindset, but it's just like,
well, Alex Ramosi talks about how the first thing that you should do every morning is check your bank account, and it should be a competitive thing.
Yeah, and he's like, write it down.
Yeah,
he's like, treat it like a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like, he's like, you know, keep tally what your total balance is the following month, and just try and beat it every month, and that'll really help you try and grow.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that Grant Cardone says too. He's like, every wealthy person knows exactly how much money they have, exactly, you know, all that stuff. So it's like being able to open your bank account with no anxiety is like a huge win.
Yeah.
I've gotten to that point where I'm just like, I don't even like care. I don't care about the number value, the money, whatever.
Yeah.
I have a goal, and I'm using the money to get to that goal.
Yeah.
Like it's just a part of an equation, and you just got to plug it in.
Yeah. I mean, kind of with us right now, we're kind of investing into something here soon where we believe that it's going to be a cash flowing asset for us. So I'd rather invest in something right now that's going to make me money sooner than later, rather than investing into like a Roth IRA that'll set me up, you know, when $1 million might be worth 250,000. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Which still contribute to retirement kids.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Charlie 100%.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
There's also better investment vehicles out there than a Roth IRA
Mm-hmm.
that I've found and actively invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's everyone to each their own.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not saying don't invest in stocks or anything like that, but me personally, I haven't invested in anything
100%
yet.
because the ROI is not there for you.
Yeah.
You're also 18. Like you could invest for the next 5 years, cash it out, buy a house, and restart, and you'd still be ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, seriously, I like so far in the last 2 years with like dealing with like making like adult money and like having my own shit.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid to spend it and use it.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that I think people really need to get better at. And I remember talking about this on a podcast like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Was like, you need to spend your money. Like, and people are just like, oh, we got to save it all. Like, great, but you're not going to learn how to use it. You're not going to learn how it works. You're not going to learn how to invest it.
Yeah.
What that actually does. Once you like spend your money and you invest it and see the returns, and it's not always a positive return, but there's always a lesson learned. Once you experience that, you're like, let's do that a ton more. And like, let's just grow.
Yeah.
Because like as soon as you turn into like game mode, as like a lot of people, like wealthy people
think of money as a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you turn on that mode, it's like, it's not like, oh my gosh, I only have this much. Who cares? Just like, shut up. Just
that's something I struggle with
like,
too, because I feel like based on the amount of money I have in my bank account, it's like how I'm gonna feel that day.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds bad, but it's just like I have been working on growing a safety net of like, you know, making sure I have 6 months living expenses all, you know, in my savings account. And, you know, it's just something that doesn't need to, you know, affect me like that.
Yeah.
But it does. And yeah.
I'm going to quote Camille real quick, but he always tells me, he's like, you're just operating. Like, you're just operating, you're working, you're like, the strategy's in place, you're just like putting in the work. And like, it doesn't matter how much money you have today.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a goal and something, you're like working towards something, look at it in 30 years. Like right now, like you're just using that money to get to the next step.
Yeah.
So like, I'll look at my bank account and I'm like, I don't know. I've just gotten to the point where I'm just unfazed. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I suggest that for everybody because it's like, freeing in a sense.
Yeah.
Like no anxiety. And I know a lot of people struggle with like anxiety and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially females. So Charlie, stay single, my man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Charlie would be single for a while.
Just kidding. Love you, Bree. But yeah, it's seriously like very eye opening and like freeing. There's like a huge burden lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah.
And it just takes practice though. Like there was a day where I was like stressed when I left my bank
financial stress is a real issue for some people. You know, like that's a big stressor for, you know, I've experienced it and I know a lot of people that have, but kind of different direction, kind of segueing into here.
Pivot.
Yeah, a little pivot action. What are some like big motivators for you? Like for me, this is going to sound kind of funny, but a big motivator, this is going to sound like weird.
Oh, just wait for mine.
Yeah. When was it? Sophomore year. I went back to Oregon to visit, hang with some of my friends and family. Okay. And there's probably 10 of my old friends from my old high school. And we were playing a game and everyone was like, it was like, who's most likely to, right?
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, who's most likely to become a millionaire? And everyone said Charlie at the same time. I'm trying to be humble right now, but that has put not pressure, but just motivation for me to like want to prove them right and prove myself right, because I know of my like what my potential is. And I know that if I don't, you know, push myself and challenge myself to take it to the next level, then I just wasted that potential. So,
well, yeah, that just kind of streams back to like believing in yourself, because when other people believe in you, you're like as humans, we would rather have other people believe in ourselves than ourselves.
Yeah.
But like when you have someone that does believe in you, that's why choosing a life partner is very like, being picky on that is very important, because when someone else believes in you, it's just like no question. Like you just do it, do the work you need to do to get to that point A to B, you know, like, so faith in yourself and from others is very important. So I can see how that was like fire into your butt in like the most positive way.
Yeah, it was good for me. And I think, you know,
I relate.
Just trying to make my parents proud and like myself to the point where I'm like, I'm proud of myself
100%.
for pushing myself to this point.
It's important. Like you got to be your biggest supporter, your biggest fan.
And I think that's why I'm always like,
sounds.
I'm like always going like in my head, like I can't sleep. I'm like, how can I make more money? How can I,
and
take it to the next step to the point where I can become a millionaire?
Yeah. And I'm going to break the ice on a little, like, I don't know what you would call it. Like a mantra or some shit. I don't fucking know. But like people are like, it's not all about the money. All right, well, let's just do some simple math here. You don't make any money a month. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not living in a house or you're not renting. You're not eating. Like
your life sucks.
You do need money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And obviously, like when I start a business, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna be making money right away. Obviously, like
It's gonna take time.
It takes time, but the end result, I do want to be making money from that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do want to make money, and that's okay. I think people are so not okay with like making money, and it's like, it's okay to make money.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be successful if you want to be.
Yeah.
And if you're like, well, I just don't like, that's your own battle. But
Yeah.
I think it's okay to want to make money, and I think it's all right to strive
Agreed.
to make money. But if that's your only motivator, let's switch the script a little bit.
Yeah.
Because one of my biggest motivators is the alternative, like Gary always says.
Yeah.
I know, like, we always go back to him, but he has the most practical wisdom and advice. I don't know if I like to call it advice, but just like
Yeah.
his motivator is the alternative of what he could be doing if he wasn't doing what he is now.
Yeah.
So I agree there. I also want to be able to go to a restaurant and spend as much money as I want on a nice dinner and not care about it. I want to swipe my credit card and not think about it. Like I don't know. I want to be able to go do what I want to go do. Like if I wanted to go to Dubai tomorrow, Char, like I want to book my flight tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to have that time and location freedom. And I think, making more money allows you to have that time and location freedom based on what you're doing. And it can make your life easier.
Yep.
I think it can have a little bit to do with correlating to your happiness, not to get with like, does money give you more happiness? But I think, but the time and location freedom of making more money, if you have like some sort of online business or you can work remote, that being able to spend time with the ones you love because of that ability, that's where, your happiness comes from.
Yeah, it unlocks your happiness because it allows you to do X, Y, Z. If you can take your parents here, like that makes you happy.
Yeah, your experiences and all those things will, have a positive impact on your life. So
I've heard some successful people say that money buys pleasure, not happiness. But when you're like, oh, I wish I could do that, boom, your happiness is down. And then you do it, like pleasure's up, and then it like correlates to your happiness. Yes, happiness is all in here, but I've never met, like, you can be sad in your Lambo, but like, I'd rather be sad in my Lambo than happy. I mean, I don't know. I don't like to say that, but
like what
I don't want a Lambo.
Leonardo DiCaprio says in Wolf of Wall Street, I've been a rich man and I've been a poor man, and I choose being a rich man every damn day.
Yes, exactly. So, I think people's mindset with money is just really negative. Especially in the U.S. because our culture is like hustle culture, and I don't agree with hustle culture. At all, like grind 50 hours a day. Like I don't agree with that.
Efficiency over
efficiency. Like I can work 5 hours a day and I'm good. Mm-hmm. And like I do everything I need.
And I think that's where some people kind of question us is like, I have friends that are like, you work, 3 to 5 hours a day. What are you doing? I'm like, we get our shit done and we're building something up to the point where I think there's a lot of startup work that might take a little bit, but not...
Which we've been doing for the past 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of are wrong. Is like they don't realize that you need to be grinding these hours just to get to where you want to be. Like,
yeah, I could work from 9 to 9 if I wanted. Like I could fill my time. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather be more efficient and
have more of a reset.
Yeah, I've been waking up at 8 a.m. lately, happier throughout the day. I get all my stuff done. And last night I went to the gym, had dinner. I got all my stuff done for the day, and it was like 7:45, and I was like, wow, I still have so much time. Yeah. Which I'm like, I could be working, yada, yada. But it adds to my happiness when I have my flexible schedule and do what I want. Yep. Which in turn makes me more productive and stoked every day to be here doing what we do. So you got to find what works for you. Yeah. Like Alex says, he's like, work-life balance. That's bullshit. He's like, I'm directly quoting him, but he's pretty much just like, if I like to work more than I like to live, like not live, but like my life balance. Like being at home, yeah, like if he likes that more, he's gonna do that more.
Yeah.
Perfect. If that makes you more happy, like perfect.
Yeah.
The balance, there's no true balance. It's just different for everyone. So that was kind of a tangent. All right, Char. So we see this a lot when people say working together is more efficient, especially Mr. Beast. He was in I can't remember who his interview was with, but he was talking about how him and his buddies all worked together and they got to this point quicker because they worked together. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it is really important to work with a team in terms of being able to bounce ideas off of each other. And like Mr. B says, when one person makes a mistake in that group, the other, 3 or 4 people can learn that mistake and take that into their, and it's kind of just a snowball effect of like, I figure out one person's mistake and I can learn from it, and then we can keep just growing faster and faster. And I think that's a more efficient process in terms of a time standpoint. And I think it's a little more difficult if you are just yourself trying to build up something, because you don't have other people's ideas and thoughts to bounce off of.
Yeah. And it doesn't always have to be like contractually binded agreements of like, all right, we're all 25, 25, 25 in this.
Yeah. It
can just be like you are each working on your YouTube channel separately, but you're teaching each other because you're friends.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have like this, because I think a lot of people shy away because they're like, well, I don't want to give up 50% of my profit because we're working together. I could just do it myself. Oh, I got an itchy nose.
You're good.
Because like, yeah, that's common. But you also don't have to do that. Like back in the day, like me and my buddy would, we're doing our social media stuff. There was no like, we were not sharing anything like from a like money standpoint, but we were sharing info back and forth, and we were both winning.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to like share our stuff because we were both doing the same thing.
Makes sense. Agreed. I think a big motivator for me too is working in a team. Like I feel like I'm more motivated when I come here and work with you guys.
Yeah.
Or if I'm, trying to build up something with someone else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's essential if you're starting with something.
Yeah, and like I just think like I don't know, I wouldn't want to do everything alone. Like I don't want to travel alone. I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't want to go to Dubai by myself.
Yeah, like I quickly realized that like I don't really want to live alone. So like living with roommates is kind of nice because I know that you might differ from that, but like just doing stuff together. I realized that like I was not a very like social person at the start of high school. But
same.
I low key like love to be around people and like, communicate and talk with people, meet people, because, you're constantly engaging and doing something. And when I find myself like I feel like I've had enough alone time in my life. And that's not just because I don't have a girlfriend right now. It's just because Char's
getting defensive.
It's just because I find joy in being able to do things with other people and experience
100%.
Those things. So
yeah, I agree. I think there's a skill of being alone and being content with being alone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to be alone every day, all day.
Yeah.
But if you can be alone and be content, that's a great superpower.
Yeah.
Like I know there's days like I live with Bree, but there's days where I'm like, well, Bree and I are like, okay, we need our own days.
Yeah.
And like we don't talk or text or not in a negative way. We just like
you need some separation and.
Yeah, which is very healthy. Like she has, she'll go to the gym by herself to have her time, and I will, I don't know, take the dogs on a walk or whatever I want to do that day.
Or go to the gym too.
Or go to the gym. Yeah. In the summer, it's like hitting balls, golfing, by myself. That's why I love golfing.
He's gonna be surfing this year on our boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for that. That content's gonna be great.
Oh, I've already made some content on my camera. It's pretty fun.
We'll have Blake out there too.
Oh yeah, Blake with the kids.
Blake will cream though.
What?
He's good at that stuff.
Surfing?
Yeah. I mean, he has a boat, so.
Surfing's
I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Surfing's you'll get up first try. Guarantee it.
But yeah, summary of that podcast, get uncomfortable, take risks. Money is not that important. It is important, but like your emotions around it are not
Agreed.
Important. And then we're going to team, grow quicker. You don't always have to share profits if you're doing the same thing.
Yep.
But separately. So
yeah, building up your own thing.
That's our pod this week. And Blake and I will be back next week.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.